Forgot to add myself to the stage. Went out of order there. Good morning, everybody. If you're watching this in a replay, which I guess you will be, most of you, I'm going to give it about a minute here before I really get into it, as I discuss the career of the late, great Robert Duvall. Always been one of my favorites, although I have slept on a lot of his movies. We'll get into that in just a moment. Just give it another minute. I simply have the IMDb page pulled up, and I'm going to start back in 1960 with his debut on TV, and I'm just going to go from there, and we'll get into it in a second. Okay. Yep, the legends are leaving us. So about a half an hour ago, I put a picture up on my Instagram about the stream, and I chose a picture from Geronimo, an American Legend, a film I saw in the theater. I think an underrated film, and a film that people have sort of forgotten about. And I just happened to first, as soon as I saw a picture of Duvall and Gene Hackman, I knew that was the one. I had to put those two legends next to each other, you know. But man, we'll get into his career in a minute. What a career. Worked with so many of the greats. Well, but we'll get into that. Just give it another minute. Let me double check my other device, make sure I'm live, and then I'll get into it regardless of whether anyone's here or not. Regardless of whether. Okay, there we go. Turn your radio down, caller. All right. Yeah, I just like to double check. I've had a few mishaps where I thought I was live and I'm not live. But here we look to be pretty good. Okay. So yes, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to talk about his career, starting with some of his TV work. I'm going to try to mention the 5 films that he directed as well. I don't have a separate list. See if I can do that from memory as we get to them. And then I have a piece of paper here. Got myself a clipboard and a piece of paper. I want to come up with 5 films of Robert Duvall that I haven't seen that I need to see. The top of the list as far as Robert Duvall films, or possibly TV shows. Probably more like along the lines of TV movies or miniseries. As a matter of fact, I know one of them is going to be up there. I've discussed it on my channel. I am wearing my Western theme shirt today. I started Western Wednesdays a couple weeks ago. I've had a few of those. And I had a longer format one where I did review a movie called Lawman with Burt Lancaster and directed by Michael Winner that had Robert Duvall in a supporting role. So I have mentioned him on the channel a few times recently for sure. But there's a number of classic performances of his that I have not seen or haven't seen in a while. All right, let's get into it. First, we got his TV era. So we got 1960, he was in something called the Robert Herridge Theater, the Armstrong Circle Theater for a few episodes, and Playhouse 90 for an episode. I believe Rod Serling may have worked on Playhouse 90 a bit. And then he was in a TV movie in 1960. This looks really interesting. John Brown's Raid with James Mason as John Brown. And this was directed by, I think, Sidney Lumet. It's hard for me to go back and forth because, you know, it's just like click, click, click just to get back to where I was. So I'm going to try to do most of this. Unless we really want to look up something, I'm not going to do that. But yeah, wow, what a bunch of talent, right? James Mason, Sidney Lumet. Now, Robert Duvall's character is on IMDb is not named, so he's apparently in a supporting role, not surprisingly. And I didn't see anybody listed under Robert E. Lee, who, of course, was the general that led the raid on when John Brown holed himself up into a farm. He was the one that basically led the assault, if you will. But more about Robert E. Lee later, as Robert Duvall will eventually play him in a movie. So tentatively, that's going on the list first. I'm very interested to see that, and I'm a big fan of made-for-TV movies. It certainly could be knocked off of the list, but I'm very curious about that, if it's available. Next, we have Great Ghost Tales. Wow, I'm kind of interested about that. I don't know. Great Ghost Tales. I guess that was an anthology show. I'm guessing he was on one episode in 1961, And then there was a couple of TV shows that I'm not really familiar with. Kane's 100, he was in one episode. And Shannon, he was in one episode. Shannon looks like a modern type film. And then he was on an episode of Alfred Hitchcock Presents, one episode of that. And that episode looks really good. I think it's called Bad Actor, but it's about an actor who murders his rival. And then I think the body is somehow incorporated into the performance. And that was directed by John Newland, who created One Step Beyond, and really is a great, force in television, or was a great force, underrated, underknown force in television. Anytime he directed episodes of someone else's show, like Thriller or Alfred Hitchcock Presents, they're usually pretty good. I mean, his Thriller episodes are like, I think he directed 4 of them. 3 of them are probably in the top 10 of that series. So yeah, I'm really curious to see that Alfred Hitchcock Presents. I mean, there's a lot of them, right? I mean, I've seen a few here or there. What I do with Alfred Hitchcock Presents, I'll say, oh, Burt Reynolds was in an episode. Let me watch that. In this case, Robert Duvall was in an episode. Let me watch that one. But one of these days, I'll go through and watch all of them. And we got Jeff from 101 Bronson here. Jeff is, good morning, Jeff. He's currently watching Apocalypse Now. It's been ages since I've seen it. You know what? I haven't actually sat down and watched the whole thing from start to finish in the longest time. But you're right. I definitely need to rewatch that. I did rewatch a great Western of his for the first time after he passed away, which I'll be getting into. Did you guys do a Talking Westerns on Open Range, Jeff? Because if you did, I'm going to go back and watch that episode for sure. And one of the themes that I'm going to get into is that, he's kind of one of those actors. Jeff says he was absolutely fantastic, amazing actor. Yeah, I've always thought that, from the moment I saw him on TV and movies in the 70s. But he wasn't like the top billing guy all the time, like Eastwood. So I wasn't like checking off all the boxes, like seeing all his movies. And a lot of them have slipped through the cracks, and so we're going to get into that. So what I'm doing is I'm writing down some of my candidates for my top 5 Robert Duvall movies or shows that I haven't seen that I need to see. Jeff, yeah, I figured you guys would like it. I mean, I figured you would like it. It's just solid. I mean, it was solid all around. Solid Western all around. Coster and Annette Bening were great. Pretty good supporting cast. Yeah, what's his name? Russo, Jeff, John. Man. Anyway, yeah, good cast all around. And Duvall has some great lines, and there's some great dialogue. That's what you got to do with Duvall, especially once he got like in the older age. Just point the camera at him, let him talk a little bit, give him some room to show you what he can do. And we'll get into that later too, because I did watch. A lot of us have probably been watching some anecdotes and some behind the scenes from people like Billy Bob Thornton and people that work with him, and some of those are so entertaining. But there's one about a movie that he cameoed in that is really interesting. But we'll get into that. So then you got Naked City, 4 episodes. That looks like an anthology show, playing different characters. And then, of course, Boo Radley, 1962, To Kill a Mockingbird. And I remember watching that and my dad explaining, hey, that's Robert Duvall. You know who he is, right? And I was like, oh, yeah. As a kid, I started to put together who some of these guys were, and the fact that, this was one of his early roles. My dad was always pointing stuff out like that to me. Next, 1 episode of The Untouchables as a character named Eddie Moon. 3 episodes of Route 66. I've only seen 1 episode of Route 66, and I watched it because it had Karloff, Peter Lorre, and Lon Chaney Jr. in it. That's the only reason I watched it. Doesn't seem like the kind of show that I'm really that interested in compared to other shows, to be honest with you, but maybe I'll check out a couple of those. And then the Twilight Zone episode that he was in, Marionette, or I think it's called Marionette, as Charlie Parks. Very good episode. He's a very sensitive, kind of quiet guy in that, very unassuming, and he kind of slips into a fantasy world. I don't know anything about that. I don't know anything about a grown man who lives in a fantasy world myself. I'm just saying. But that's a very good episode. Next, 1 episode of The Virginian. Now, I'm very excited to see this. I'm on about episode 10 of The Virginian. I started at the beginning. I went through the first DVD compilation of season 1. So, and that series went on for a while, and lots of good guest stars on that for sure. I've already seen a bunch, but I'm very interested to see him interact with some of the cast on that. And then we got three more shows: Stony Burke, Arrest and Trial, and Captain Newman, MD. Well, Captain Newman, MD looks like a movie. Okay, don't know anything about any of those. Then we have a TV series, The Lieutenant, and then we have an episode of Kraft Suspense Theater, where he plays a character named Harvey Farnsworth. This episode, guys, is a good one. This is a really good episode. Kraft Suspense Theater was an anthology show. Every week you had a different story. You had actors such as Leslie Nielsen and James Caan, Mickey Rooney, Tina Louise, all kinds of up-and-coming and established actors. It's a really good anthology series. And this episode is really a showcase for Clint Walker. If you're into Clint Walker, you got to watch this episode. I think it's called, I'm going to click on it, even though it'll take me a minute to get back. Portrait of an Unknown Man. Oh, that was easy. Okay. It's a showcase for Clint Walker, but Robert Duvall is in a supporting role, and he's very good. This is a trademark role for Clint Walker, the strong, silent type. He moves to a mining village. He just walks in one day, and they're like, how did you get here? Because this is like an isolated place, and he just doesn't want to, he's not interested in small talk. He bought a mining cabin, and he's just going to go live a quiet life by himself. And the townspeople just keep bothering him. Basically, Robert Duvall works at the general store, and he kind of has a thing for the girl behind the counter, who's the owner's daughter, and the actress would eventually play the senator in Silence of the Lambs, whose daughter gets kidnapped, but she's very good. So she seems like he's the only one. He's maybe a little interested in her, but he just wants to be left alone. And Duvall, turns out his backstory, he's not a good guy. He's not a nice guy at all. He's really just kind of a jerk. They're just so nosy, you know what I mean? Clint he buys all these supplies and then pulls out a couple hundreds. And this is from 1964. So Duvall just like, he's all nosy about it, He's just, I've noticed that the early TV roles that I would see Duvall in, a lot of times he would play a very jerky character, apart from that Twilight Zone episode. Maybe not always. And then we got 3 episodes of The Outer Limits in 1964. I think I've seen like one of them, but I'm going to be working my way through the rest of that series as well. And I think in one of the, no, I'm thinking of another sci-fi show, which I'll get to in a minute. I know one, he's made up like an alien, like his head is even, he's bald, but his head is even, I mean, he did have a little bit of hair back then, but his head is even like oddly shaped. But first, 3 episodes of The Fugitive. Now, I got a ways into The Fugitive. I really need to finish it. I may have seen him in 1 or 2 episodes, but man, so many people are in that show. I can't remember. So yeah, definitely interested in those episodes. That's a series I'll be watching to the conclusion. Next, here's the one I was talking about. Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea. Czar. I used to watch it up on the screen when I used to go to the gym years ago back in, I would go at like 1:30 in the morning because I had to be at work at early morning, and I would go before work and I would watch episodes of Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea without sound. But I don't remember this one, but he plays I think like an alien being named Czar. And then we have Nightmare in the Sun, where he plays motorcyclist. So a lot of times in films, he's not yet a named guy. He's just like a supporting player. Then 3 episodes of The Defenders as different characters. A movie called The Chase. Bob Hope, back to TV. Bob Hope presents Chrysler Theater. 1 episode. Hawk, 1 episode. Don't know what that's about. It looks like it could be a Western. There's tons of Westerns that lasted, and there's tons of Western series that didn't last, or lasted a season that people have kind of forgotten about. Next, we've got The Felony Squad, 1 episode. And then Shane, the TV series. Yeah, I did read about this the other day. I didn't know they made a Shane TV series. It seems like from 1966. So he's in 1 episode of that. I'm just kind of curious about that. I'm a huge fan of the film, of course. Jeff has got The Chase on DVD. It stars Marlon Brando. Okay. And is that, let's see. I just saw is that a motorcycle thing? 2 hours and 14 minutes? A local bad boy escapes prison and heads for his hometown. Directed by Arthur Penn. Okay. Yeah, I'll have to check that one out. Yeah. Let's see. Give me a second to get back to where I was. But yeah, we're about to get into that era where he is sort of bouncing from minor roles and starting to pick up some major roles. There we go. Down, 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 down. Okay, this is why I said I wasn't going to look things up, really. Try to just do it from memory. Oh, no, not yet. Okay. There's a lot of movies. There's a lot of movies. Got some show and tell coming up too, guys. Okay. Okay, then he was in a movie called The Fame. Fame is the name of the game. Can't really see what that's about. Interesting. He played a character named Eddie. And then he was in 2 episodes of The Time Tunnel, which is being rebooted. An Irwin Allen show. Somebody bought the rights to several of the Irwin Allen sci-fi shows from that era. And I think they're going to reboot them. That was the plan. And even combine them together, make it like a shared world, which is kind of interesting. We played the same character in 2 episodes, so that's interesting. And then he played 2 different characters in a show called The Cat. T-H-E. Capital T, capital H, capital E. Cat. It's probably like an espionage or spy series from 66, 67. You know, one of those deals. He played a character named Scorpio. So that's what I'm guessing. And then he was in 3 episodes of Combat. I did see one of these, and I did see a few episodes of Combat way back in the day. It was just on TV, and I would watch it. And he does play a German officer in one of the episodes. I guess that's the character of Carl in one of the episodes. He was always pretty good with accents, I think. German, Scottish, Cuban, among others. And he had to actually work with the good guys, the Americans. They captured him. They needed something from him. I don't remember the details. So he's kind of going along like he's going to help him, but he's, do you think he's really going to actually help them? So yeah, that was a pretty good episode, but that's, I remember seeing that years ago, but man, back then he was good with the accents. A movie called Countdown from 67, Western series, Cimarron Strip. And then, the Wild Wild West Western series as Dr. Horace Humphreys. Didn't see that. Flesh and Blood, a TV movie. Run for Your Life, a TV series, 1 episode. Judd for the Defense, 1 episode. Yeah, I think we all know that, or many of us, he was not like, he didn't have any recurring roles on any shows back then. So these are pretty much all going to be 1 or 2 or 3 episodes. A movie called The Detective from 68, where he played a character named Nestor. CBS Playhouse. Whoops, I accidentally clicked on that. Where he played Dr. Margolin. Oh boy, give me a second. Now I gotta go. But we're about to get into, and what I have is I've got StreamYard and then I've got IMDb like nice and skinny over here, so it's a little bit clunky. And now I've gone down a rabbit hole and clicked on something else by mistake. So we're getting up to his more well-known films. So far, I don't think I've seen anything except for Twilight Zone, maybe some of the Outer Limits episodes. Don't really remember. But he paid his dues for sure. And I did grab some of the physical. Oh, okay. Here we are. I did grab some of the physical. I clicked on it again. Okay. I did. Not too bad. I did grab some of the physical copies that I own. But he's the kind of guy, like, if I really think about it, I know I've probably got like 10 more movies somewhere in my collection that he's in. I just couldn't think of them all. Run for Your Life TV series. Judd for the Defense TV series. Oh, God. I did that. We did that. CBS Playhouse. And all right. Now we're up to Bullet. Now this is interesting. Where's Bullet? I'm a huge Bullet fan. I know, Jeff, you're probably a big Bullet fan if you're still here. You know me. I collect die-cast cars. I was going to have to get the Bullet cars. They also came out with Taxi, 1967 Ford Custom Taxi. Now, the taxi's not like the main attraction for the movie. It's not in the car chase at all, but Robert Duvall plays the character Weisberg. He's the cab driver. And this is from 1968, so maybe it's understandable that he doesn't have a bigger role. But, I think McQueen, somebody gets a ride, and then McQueen has to go back and ask Duvall's character about who got a ride in his cab, and I think he may be holding back some information. So it's a decent role. I just thought it was funny that they came out with the Taxi as far as die-cast cars. I mean, I'd even get a tractor trailer that has the Bullet logo on it. There was no such tractor trailer in the movie. Of course I got it. But but the fact that it was Duvall, that definitely kind of pushed me over. Like I needed a reason, but that pushed me over into getting that. So yeah, Bullet is an action classic for sure. Yeah, I got to rewatch. That's another one. I've not rewatched that in a while. That might be a candidate to show my son Harrison. Next, one episode of the Mod Squad. Next, then we got True Grit. So I got this 2-pack from Walmart. This is one. All right, this is going on the list. This is going on the list. I've never seen the original, guys. I've only seen the remake. Can you imagine that? I've mentioned to Jeff and a lot of other people before I've got a blind spot when it comes to John Wayne, so I am getting caught up. But he's not. You've got John Wayne, Kim Darby, and Glenn Campbell. So he's not. He's in the cast. He's not super high up. It doesn't look like, but there he is. Robert Duvall and Strother Martin. So they got him on the back in the credits. But I mean, I got to see it, of course. True Grit. Then we got the Rain People. Not familiar with that. I think it was one of those. I think it used to be on cable. Don't remember watching it. The FBI. 5 episodes of the FBI. Okay, I think I'm back. Okay, I think I'm back. Yep. Rain People was a Coppola film, the first collaboration between him and Duvall. Oh, okay, interesting. Yeah, thanks, Jeff. I knew I was frozen. But can you see me now? Hopefully you can. I think I'm back. StreamYard said I was back, so I would put that on my list. I'm going to put it on my list. Because if I've got John Brown's Raid, which is a TV movie, I'm going to put this one on my list as of the 5 Robert Duvall films that I haven't seen that I need to see. That's not to say it's staying, because I know there's a miniseries that's definitely going to be on there. I'm all good now. Thanks, Jeff. Oh, yeah. 1970. People forget that he was in MASH as Frank Burns. He's a different interpretation for sure from Larry Linville in the series. Just oh, it's funny. MASH is dark, very darkly funny. What a cast in the film, though, right? With Elliot Gould and man, what a great cast. The Revolutionary from 1970 as Despard. So I guess that's a French Revolution. I don't really know. And next, 1971, Lawman, which is a film that I reviewed last week on my Western Wednesday. It was in that long video that I made. That, to be honest, nobody watched it, but very few people. But somewhere in there is my review of the Michael Winner film Lawman. Man, that was a rough one. I did not know that was going to be that dark. Lancaster is great in that. And Duvall, looking at where he is here in his career, it seems like, yeah, okay, that's a pretty good role because there's a lot of people in that movie, so he does have a supporting role. It is kind of there is an extended scene or longer scene where he does face off with Lancaster in the desert, whereas most of the action is sort of in the town. It's like a chase kind of scene, and is very entertaining. So he's very good in it. And then he was in, of course, THX 1138, the George Lucas film with Donald Pleasance. Lots of bald heads is what I remember from that. But yeah, I think, it is what it is. George Lucas's student film, pretty ambitious for the time, and pretty cool that Duvall was in it. Next, we have the greatness. Oh no, not yet. Next, we have The Godfather's Tom Hagen. All right, what can you say? Great role for Duvall, for sure. And then you have something called Tomorrow, where he plays a character named Jackson Fentry. And then you have a film that I'm kind of wondering if you've seen it, Jeff. 1972. I've heard of it, The Great Northfield, Minnesota Raid, which is, of course, about Jesse James. Oh, he plays Jesse James. He's Jesse James in this one. Cool. I'm definitely going to have to check this out. Of course, it's about the events that lead up to the Great Northfield, Minnesota Raid, which was depicted in The Long Riders, of course, one of the highlights of that film, which Jeff and Carlos covered on Talking Westerns a while back. Just a great film. Do I think it's going to be as good as that film? No, but I'm interested to watch it regardless. And then we got Joe Kidd. I got it on this Clint Eastwood 3-pack here. These are kind of some of his, High Plains Drifters on here, but you also have Joe Kidd and Two Mules for Sister Sarah. I remember liking Joe Kidd, just didn't love it as much as High Plains Drifter or any of the spaghetti westerns, but I definitely will be rewatching that at some point. Not going to quite put it on the list. Yeah, we'll definitely have to check it out. Yeah, I'm very curious about it. I've known about it. I've seen the title for years, so I've never gotten around to watching it. Knowing that Duvall was Jesse James, I'm going to put that on the list. All right. Well, I've got 4 films on the list, and I know one of them that's coming up. It's actually a miniseries. Is going to be on the list, and probably on the list. Probably won't be able to be removed. Lady Ice from 73. Badge 373 from 73. And then The Outfit. Now, I definitely want to check out The Outfit for sure. That's the kind of film, like, if I see it and I wouldn't be surprised if I recognized some scenes from that. I don't know. I don't think I've seen it, but you never know. Yeah, Joe Kidd is okay, but pretty standard Western. Yeah, it's not too special or standouts. Pretty good scenes. Now we have another Coppola film, right? I think The Conversation. He plays the director in that, uncredited. He plays from 74. Great Hackman film, of course, The Conversation. And John Cazale's in that as well. And then we have 1974 Godfather 2 again as Tom Hagen. What can you say? I think I prefer Godfather 2 a little bit over Godfather, but it's pretty close. And 75, we got a couple. Well, we got one pretty good one. We got a Bronson film. Oh, Carlos has seen that? Okay. Yeah, I definitely very interested. Any kind of a cop film from that era, I'm going to have to check out. Of course, Duvall was in Breakout with Bronson. Pretty decent Bronson movie, not top tier, but pretty good and good cast. Definitely a good cast. Fun. It's kind of a fun movie, really. And Duvall is really good in that. And then we have The Killer Elite, the Sam Peckinpah movie from 75. I had that because I took it. I don't know where I put it, guys, because all my Peckinpah movies are together. I put it down somewhere, but I took a picture of it the other day for Instagram. I got to be honest with you. It's not my favorite Peckinpah movie. It's got the ninjas in there. It just doesn't quite gel together. I actually think maybe the remake might be better. I haven't watched the remake. I have it, but I haven't watched it yet. Duvall's character is really good, like the mentor type character. I just feel like that one didn't quite work out. It's not my favorite Peckinpah film, essentially. It's kind of a victim of slightly disappointing. Yeah, it's just kind of a victim of the time. Hey, let's shoehorn in some ninjas because it's the 70s. And I love ninjas. Got all the films. I got all American Ninja. I got Shokasugi movies. I love them. But I got the series, The Master. But it was clunky. Yeah, and right, exactly. You're just expecting more because it's Sam Peckinpah and it's James Caan and Robert Duvall. But it's not up there with the great ones of the 70s or even the pretty good ones of the 70s. I don't think. Next, you have one. I know that it was on TV when I was a kid. I know my dad watched it. I don't remember much of it, where Duvall plays Dr. Watson. He did have some pretty unusual roles, I think. This is one of them. The 7% Solution. I forget who plays Holmes in that. So looking forward to rewatching that. Next is a movie. I'll put it on the list. This might knock another one off. This is one of these famous movies that like I haven't seen. One of these like I can't believe you haven't seen that movie. We all have a few of those on our list. Network. I've never seen it. I know of it. I know the famous scene. I get it. I haven't seen it. He plays Frank Hackett in that. Next, he plays Colonel Radel. I believe he's a German, right? Is he playing a Nazi in this one? The Eagle Has Landed. I remember watching that on TV with my dad. I'm very interested to rewatch it, though. I think I even have it, now that I think about it. I'm pretty sure I have it on a compilation of action films. So, yeah, I'll be rewatching that. And next, he plays The Greatest as Bill McDonald. That's about Muhammad Ali. I don't know who Bill McDonald was in real life, but he's in that. Saw it once on Prime. Jeff liked Network on Prime. Yeah. I mean, I love 70s cinema, and it's got great people in it. It's one of those things like, why haven't I seen it? Don't know. Next, he was in The Betsy, 1978, and then also he has playing a priest on a swing. So if you're in the credits as priest on a swing, you're probably going to be uncredited, and that's what he is in Invasion of the Body Snatchers from 78. Interesting. Now 79. Wow, 79 is a good year for him. Wow. I'm actually kind of interested to see this miniseries. I know there's another one coming up that's going to replace this one, so I'm not going to put it on my list here. But Ike the Warriors as Eisenhower from 79, 3 episodes. By the way, did you see there's a trailer for the movie Pressure? There's a movie called Pressure about the D-Day landings. Brendan Fraser is playing Eisenhower, and it looks pretty good. It looks really good. I was really surprised to see that casting, but I'm happy for him that he got that role. I mean, looks pretty good. So yeah, definitely Ike the Warriors. Kind of interested to see that. And of course, also in 1979, Apocalypse Now as Colonel Kilgore. What can you say? Like Jeff said, I've already said, like, I need to sit down and watch the whole thing. I remember most of the scenes, and certainly his scenes. I mean, he's got what, 10, 11 minutes of screen time, but man, it's amazing. And then also 1979, he really received a lot of credit and accolades for this one. The Great Santini as Bull Meacham, that used to be on all the time. True Confessions from 1981. I saw that while back, all the way through. De Niro, Duvall, and there's a priest and a cop, and somebody's going to see some ladies of the evening that shouldn't be, and they die, and it's covered up, and there's quite a few F-bombs, and it's pretty good. It also has Charles Durning and Kenneth McMillan. If you've ever gotten those two guys mixed up, you can watch this movie and figure out who's who, because they're both in it. But yeah, he's very good. Detective Sergeant Tom Spillassi. True Confessions is pretty good. Yeah, almost more of like a character study, really. You know what I mean? It's not like an action film or anything by any stretch, but it's solid for sure. And next we have The Pursuit of D.B. Cooper. Never seen it. Kind of interested. From 81. Then we have 83. I got to put this one on the list. I know that. Now I do remember seeing this on cable. In other words, I remember seeing that it was on, but this is the time when I was into action films and everything. So I wasn't really going to sit down and watch Tender Mercies on cable at this age. But now I definitely want to go back and rewatch it for sure. Next, 83, The Terry Fox Story. That's a TV movie, I believe, HBO. Funny thing is, a couple years ago when I went on a cruise, we went to Victoria, Canada, and we were on a bus going back to the ship, and we passed by the Terry Fox statue. I was like, oh, I remember that TV movie. I guess he's from Victoria, Canada. And there it was. But yeah, he plays, I guess, the coach, or maybe plays a character named Bill Vigers. So I guess that was probably like his coach or something. Next, I remember this one on cable too. This was a rough one. Drama, The Stone Boy, about a boy who witnessed a horrible accident and wouldn't talk after that. Heavy one from 84. And then we have all my baseball. Where's my baseball movies? Where's my baseball movies? Oh, I moved them upstairs. Next, as Max, he plays Max Mercy in 1984's The Natural. Great role. You know, I remember reading a review of it, and they praised his performance. They have that impromptu pitching exposition, where Redford faces off against Joe Don Baker and Robert Duvall's characters, calling the strikes and balls, and the reviewer just said, just the way he delivers that last line, like, you're out, like he can't believe it. It's just, you know, just really good stuff. Yeah, that's a good role for him. And then we have he played a doctor in a music video, Waylon Jennings America. I have not seen that. I don't know if he was in too many other videos. Now, one thing I'm not going to really get into is some of the video games that he did voice work for, but if he's in any other videos, I will mention it. Okay, so by this time, 1984, I think he'd already directed a documentary about farming, which I'm very interested to see now, and a movie called Angelo, My Love. If not, it's around this time. He's not in it. He met a Romani or gypsy. Some people don't like to use that term anymore, on the street in New York City, and ended up making a movie about this kid. And I don't know if it's documentary or drama, but he ended up, you know, featuring this kid in this film. Pretty interesting. Next, The Light Ship from 1985, and Belisaire the Cajun from 1986. Not familiar with either one of those. 1986, we have a really fun one. And Jim, if you're watching the replay, this one does star Crazy Gary Busey. And this movie is, you know, it's not the greatest, but it's fun. It was on cable all the time. Let's Get Harry. Okay. About some friends to go decide to mount their own rescue operation when one of their friends gets kidnapped in a third world country. But they need a little bit of training first. In comes Duvall's character named Norman Shrike. Okay, and I remember there's one line he has that's pretty good when he's training them how to shoot, where he says, bullets don't go where you want them to go. They go where they're aimed. Next, he plays two characters in a movie called Hotel Colonial, 1987. Don't know anything about that. Next is one I saw in the theater, a movie directed by Dennis Hopper, Colors, as Bob Hodges. He plays opposite Sean Penn in that film. Really solid film. Really good film. Colors, yeah. Did see it in the theater. Loved it. And here we come to the miniseries. 4 episodes in the miniseries, which is going on my list of Robert Duvall films that I have not seen. I'm going to count this as one. If I can spell. Lonesome Dove. There we go. As August Gus McCrae. I did see 1 or 2 of the prequels. I'm gonna watch all of it. All the Larry McMurtry Lonesome Dove properties. I want to see all of them. I think I have the Sacketts, but I'm interested in all of them. Oh, keep meaning to watch Colors. Might give it. Yeah, it's good. It's just really good. It's great. I mean, also got Maria Conchita Alonso, Damon Wayans plays a gang member, and he has a hilarious story about his scene. He was just supposed to get arrested, but he's like, yeah, but he was like, Dennis Hopper wasn't on drugs at the time, but he took so many they had a residual effect. So he was like, how about your character will be on drugs and he'll be wearing a diaper and he'll be dancing with the teddy bear. It's pretty funny. But Duvall and Penn are really good in that movie. So yeah, Lonesome Dove, I've got to see that. I'm really got interested in Western novelizations and the films that they were based on recently. Next is one I saw. It was on cable quite a bit. Handmaiden's Tale as the commander. I never got interested in the series. I thought the movie pretty much told the story. Yeah, he was very good in that. Very cold, kind of aloof, but solid. A Show of Force from 1990 and Days of Thunder from 1990. Never saw Days of Thunder. Just seemed formulaic to me. Wasn't interested. 1991, Rambling Rose. I think I saw part of that on cable. 1991, Convicts. And 1992, Newsies, where he plays Joseph Pulitzer. Did not see Newsies, not really up my alley. Oh, yeah, I kind of forgot about this. I think I did see this back in the day on cable. The Plague, where he plays Joseph Grand. And I think that's based on the Camus work. I may have read it in high school or something, and I was kind of interested. But I haven't thought about that in years, but I did see it. And then it's another, here comes a TV movie that I do remember seeing, also based on history, Stalin, where he plays Stalin. It was pretty good. Now here we've got a good year here. 1993 is a good year. Falling Down is Prendergast, classic Duvall role. I've seen this so many times. Fond memories of watching this with my dad. Just such a great role. I mean, fantastic ending, telling the story about his daughter. I mean, it's heartbreaking. Such a good character. Yeah, it's just Falling Down. This is a great film. Great film. Next is a Western I saw in the theater. I think it's underrated considering who's in it. And it's directed by Walter Hill. It's got great Ry Cooder music. I was going to put some of it on Instagram to go with my Instagram post today. Maybe Ry Cooder doesn't want his music on Instagram because I couldn't find it. At least any music that was associated with this film, but it was a great soundtrack. Geronimo, An American Legend, which starred Jason Patric and Wes Studi and Duvall, as I believe his name was Al Sieber, who was a real-life character who pretty much was like the archetypical Indian fighter from the time. I mean, he'd been shot multiple times. There's a scene where Jason Patric's character says, I didn't agree with everything that he stood for or said, but you would be a fool if you didn't sit down and learn from this guy, because his character in that film was so experienced. And there's a fantastic death scene in this movie. So I do highly recommend Geronimo, An American Legend. If you haven't seen it, great Wes Studi role. And next we have a movie that was on cable all the time. I watched it several times. Kenny from Kenny's Movie Palace. If you're rewatching, Sandra Bullock is in this film. And it's about the friendship between Duvall as Walter, who plays a Cuban barber, and another character named Richard Harris, who had lived an adventurous life and once claims to have wrestled Ernest Hemingway. It's just about their relationship. A couple of lonely old guys who kind of get together and become friends. It's really good. It's really good. Next is The Paper, Ron Howard film. Didn't really grab me. I never seen it. The idea of seeing it never really, just wasn't that interested. Yeah, Jeff seen Geronimo years ago. Definitely overdue for a revisit. Yeah, I think people are overlook it, really. I mean, and speaking of long riders with Walter Hill, I've been realizing that, man, I really need to get some more films in his filmography for sure. Maybe do a top 5 Walter Hill video or something like that, because he's got some great ones for sure. And then we got The Stars Fell on Henrietta, 95. Something to Talk About, 95. The Scarlet Letter, 95. Ugh. Read that in high school. We watched a movie. This is in the 80s, so it wasn't this movie, but we did watch a film version of it with Kelly McGillis. I just never really liked that story. Just don't like the story, but I think I actually did see the movie, though. Oh, next we got 1996. This is a really good one. Boy, wow, 96 is a good year, too. Man, he was just on a tear here. A family thing with him and James Earl Jones. Very solid drama. Duvall finds out that he's half black and that he's half brothers with James Earl Jones. And it's a good film, pretty much. Phenomenon, as Doc from 1996. Yeah, I saw it one time. It was pretty good. It's like a Travolta vehicle. Next, we have a small role for him, Carl's father in Sling Blade. Lots of good stories coming out of where Billy Bob Thornton is telling some pretty good stories now in interviews about the life or his friendship with Robert Duvall. They would be in each other's movies and do each other favors and things like that. And then we have Another one I remember watching with my dad, The Man Who Captured Eichmann, from, I think, an HBO movie from 96 where he plays Adolf Eichmann. Really intense film. Really good film. And then 97, we have a film that he directed, The Apostle, with Farrah Fawcett. And this, yeah, you know, and now we're getting into a phase where he will be in some films where he does not play necessarily the most likable guy. You know, he's not just like the cop or the friend, or he's a flawed human being in The Apostle, but it's a good film. Billy Bob Thornton has a small role. And I didn't know that June Carter Cash played his mom in that. I remember the scene. They're driving and he's like singing her a song and stuff and everything, but I didn't know at the time that was June Carter Cash. 1998, The Gingerbread Man. He was on Saturday Night Live that year, one episode. Then he was in Deep Impact. I never watched Deep Impact all the way through, to be quite honest with you. Wow, that was that long ago? Whew. Next is a good one. Speaking of John Travolta, very solid film. Good role for Duvall. Jerome Thatcher in A Civil Action. Good courtroom drama. Gone in 60 Seconds. Shame. I haven't seen it, guys, even though it's a car film. What am I doing? Didn't see it. A Shot at Glory. Looks like he's wearing a cowboy hat in this one. I don't know anything about it. From 2000. The Sixth Day with Schwarzenegger, 2000. I kind of remember that. John Q as the lieutenant, Frank Grimes in that. That's good. That's really good. It's a solid, solid drama with Denzel Washington. It's always good to have someone like Duvall in a role like that who's trying to talk John Q out of this hostage situation. Next is another film that he directed in 2002. Really not the nicest character in this either. Plays an assassin, Assassination Tango, confines it where it does incorporate his love of tango music. He did talk about tango music a lot, according to Billy Bob Thornton, and it was something he was really interested in and into, which is probably good, probably kept him in pretty good shape. But he plays an assassin who goes down to Latin America to 86 someone, and he's got this girlfriend who has a young daughter back home. They have no idea who this guy is. It's pretty entertaining though, but again, not the easiest film to cozy up to, I would say. Next is one I mentioned Robert E. Lee earlier, Gods and Generals, the sequel to Gettysburg, which came out in 2003. Wow, I would have thought it had come out earlier. I think I prefer his Robert E. Lee over Martin Sheen's from Gettysburg by just a bit. It's a different interpretation. This one is more focused on the Confederacy. I've seen videos where people have said it's propaganda for the Confederacy. I don't believe that's true. You have to consider the whole work. And I read all these back in the day, the Robert Shahara books. I think that was his name. I was really into this stuff, but most of this is from the perspective of the Confederacy with Lee and Stonewall Jackson. But Jeff Daniels does come back as his character from Gettysburg. I can't remember the name of the colonel that he played in that for a bit, but it's good. He's good. And then we have Open Range, which I just watched for the first time the other day as Boss Spearman. Of course, there's a great scene in there where him and Kevin Costner kind of tell each other what their real names are. It's kind of like the similar scene from Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. Really good role for him. Very wise, kind of frontier guy who not only knows about life and cows, but gives Kevin Costner some advice on relationships too. Just solid film. Not sure why it took me so long to watch it. I've had it for quite a bit. Next is Secondhand Lions with him and Michael Caine. I did see some of it or remember some of it. Don't know if I've seen it all the way through, but I'm interested in rewatching it. And then Kicking and Screaming with Will Ferrell. That's a goofy movie, but it's pretty funny. He narrated an episode of An American Experience from 2005. Thank You for Smoking as Captain. I don't know. I kind of remember the movie, but don't remember anything else about it other than it exists. And then we have Broken Trail that's a mini series where he plays Prentice Ritter. I think that might also be a Larry McMurtry adaptation. I'm not sure. And I think I've seen it. But definitely we'll have to go back and rewatch that. And Jeff says he stole the show in Open Range for sure. One of my favorite performances of his. Yeah. I mean, I like the way they just gave him and Costner some room to have some solid dialogue. But yeah, he really he did steal the show. You know, Costner's good. You know, to me, in Westerns, he's just something about, he's been in some good ones, but he's not like that classic sort of Eastwood level. And I have to be honest with you. There's a couple lines where it was hard to hear what he was saying. You know, I've never had that problem watching a Clint Eastwood movie, even though people say he whispers and everything. Just a couple lines. Maybe it's me. I don't know. But, you know, he was good. And it is a really good movie. 2007, Lucky You. Don't remember that. 2007, We Own the Night. 2008, Four Christmases. Didn't see it. I did see this. He has a cameo in this one, The Road, as the old man. And there is a little anecdote going around where Viggo Mortensen talks about how they kind of came up with some dialogue. You know, he's like an old guy that he runs into. He's got a really dirty face. And Duvall came up with like a backstory for his character and incorporated that into the script. And apparently the director was pretty happy with it. Next, this is not a pleasant movie either. Get Low with Sissy Spacek and I think Bill Murray. Yeah, not a pleasant movie, really. He plays a character named Felix Bush, who lives on the outskirts of town, who decides he wants to have a funeral even though he's still alive, and a lot of things come out about his past, and it's pretty tragic. Next is Crazy Heart. Now, I've not seen this. There's a Jeff Bridges movie called Crazy Heart, I think, but this is not that movie. I think this is about an aging country western singer. Haven't seen it. Interested to see it, though. 7 Days in Utopia from 2011. Don't remember that. Jane Mansfield's Car from 2012. Don't remember that. Hemingway and Gellhorn, a TV movie where he plays Russian general uncredited. 2012, Jack Reacher. I don't know. I was not interested in the Reacher movies with Tom Cruise for some reason. Just didn't grab me. I know my dad's reaction was he's too short. It wasn't just that. I just was not interested. 2013, A Night in Old Mexico. Not familiar with that one. 2014, The Judge. Wild Horses for 2015. Looks like he's wearing a cowboy hat in that. In Dubious Battle. Oh, I have that. I have that somewhere. I think I may have gotten that from Dollar Tree. From 2016 as Bolton. Widows from 2018. Wow, I've really been sleeping on him the last couple of years. 12 Mighty Orphans from 2021. Don't know anything about that. We got 2 left, guys. 2 left. I guess I just haven't seen much of his more recent work. Hustle from 2022 and The Pale Blue Eye from 2022. I did see the trailer for that. That's about Edgar Allan Poe solving a crime. So I'm kind of interested in seeing that. But what are your thoughts, Jeff? Have you seen any of those more recent ones? Let me know, and if you're watching this in the future, let me know in the comments below. That brings us to the end, but I have, let's see, I've got 7 movies here, 7 Robert Duvall films that I haven't seen that I need to see. Of course, I'll probably end up watching all 7. Which ones are my top 5? So I got to eliminate a couple. I'm going to eliminate the TV movie John Brown's Raid, even though I am interested in it still. So True Grit, got to go with True Grit. The Judge is a recent one you've seen. Cool. Thanks, Jeff. Oh, Lonesome Dove. I'm counting that miniseries as 1. I've got to see that. I'm really interested in that now. Tender Mercies for the performance. You know, you got to give it to him. I know his performance in that is highly acclaimed. It's hard for me to sit down and watch like a heavy drama in recent times, though. You know, I just GMNR. Why did I think I was going to remember that? Why did I think I was going to remember that? Oh my gosh, do I have to go all the way back? I will as I'm thinking. All right, I'm going to go with Network, only because that's also just a classic 70s movie. It's on my list of I can't believe you haven't seen that type films. Type of film, you know. Was that Ike the Warriors? No, no. A great the Great Northfield, Minnesota Raid. That's what I meant. I'm very interested in the subject matter of that one. So for me, that one's going to edge out Rain People, even though that's a Coppola. So my top 5 Robert Duvall movies that I haven't seen that I need to see are True Grit, the original, the Lonesome Dove miniseries, Tender Mercies, the Great Minnesota Northfield Raid, which actually I do have. I do have that. I've got that on a compilation or a 2-pack. Yeah. And Network. Okay. So there you go, guys. Of my favorite performances and or movies of Robert Duvall, I'm going to spitball here off the top of my head. I'm going to go with Godfather 2. You know, obviously the Godfather's in there as well. I'm going to go with Falling Down. Absolutely. For sure. Boy, I mean, his performance in Assassination Tango is really good. It's not the most pleasant film. Those are some of my favorites. Wow. Yeah, Falling Down to me is probably like my favorite performance of his, I guess I would say. For sure. Okay, yeah. That's the one I'm going with for my top performance. Well, this has been great. I hope if you watch on the replay, let me know in the comments below what some of your favorite Robert Duvall films are and what you will be watching in the future as a way to remember the life and career of the late, great Robert Duvall. And thanks a lot for coming out. Jeff, thanks for coming out in the comments. And I will talk to everybody later. Thanks.